Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
What is going on, 49ers? It is so great. This day is wonderful. Now, usually the John and Wayne show is on Tuesdays, but we were live on the 49ers yesterday, so you get a double dose if you joined us there. Wayne, how's my man doing? How's my man doing?
I just woke up, bro. I felt like I've been podcasting since 8 o'clock this morning. I thought I was late. I was like, no. Yeah, I'm here, though, but I'm great.
I love our job, but yeah, sometimes it's a lot. It's funny. I was talking to my wife, and she was like, man, I feel like you've been talking for like, how many hours have you been talking today? And I was like, oh, I don't know, 2.5 hours. She's like, it just turned noon. And I was like, yeah, it's a lot, and whatever else. But so glad to be here. We've got so much to talk about. We got drama, former 49ers, new 49ers. I want to cover that, the ins and outs. But look at this. We got a new member.
Hey.
What's up, Craig Love? I love it. Appreciate all the people that show up. Hashtag CC's Countdown Crew. But if you haven't yet, check out the membership. It helps us out, supports the show. If you're not a Patreon member, or if you are a Patreon member, that's an extra way to support the show and basically bring a highlight to whatever it is you're commenting on. Appreciate you, Craig. Thank you so much. So here we go. If you guys got questions, this is your place. Let's start it right here with Callie. What do you think of the Jack Rabbit signing? The 49ers bring in an experienced corner who played with the Rams for a very, very long time. What do you think about them bringing in the corner? They cut Kader Holman, brought back Kamiko Toure, and brought in the Jack Rabbit. What are your thoughts on this?
It's a good signing, right? I mean, listen, they took a hit with Jason Verrett being done for the year, and they found a way to kind of like replenish him with another veteran that plays really good man corner. Look, he's a man guy. Don't expect him to play inside too much. He can. But this is a depth piece, and it could mean, listen, man, we getting down to the nitty gritty, man. I don't know if they want to continue to let players develop. I think they're saying, hey, man, we need to go and get some insurance policies right now, because they're making a really good run for the playoffs, and they could possibly end up, John, not in the first seed, but the second seed. So this is something that the 49ers might be doing. Miss Debbie, we were just talking about you.
We were.
Oh, my goodness. Crazy.
Yeah, I saw your post on Twitter. I know, Wayne, you guys know each other much better than I do, but I just want to say hopefully you get better. Get the faithful, we need you. And so we need you at full spirits. I really hope everything goes all right. Hang in there, girl. You're incredible. And just appreciate your positivity, even on a day like today. Thank you so much. Appreciate all that you do for the community.
Love you, Miss Deb. But yeah, man, I think it's a good signing. I think it's a spot up. Hey, man, we got spots to fill on the practice squad. We could fill them up with veterans. Let's go ahead and fill them up. And they got one, and there possibly may be another one that they're going to try to refill if they decide to place Elijah Mitchell on the IR. So we'll see what's going to happen. We don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to keep Elijah Mitchell right where they are, because you've only got 2 IR spots to come back, right? You can put as many players on IR as you want to, but you can only bring back 8 a year.
And
so you're keeping those 2 spots, Javon Kinlaw, Trey Lance. Now, I don't think that Trey Lance needs to come back outside of an injury to Jimmy G. This is Jimmy G's year. But if an injury does happen and you're slated to win the NFC West, man, you want Brock Purdy and Ben Kirk out there, or do you want Trey Lance out there? I think that's a pretty obvious answer. So yeah, we'll I don't know. And I'll say this, just one more thing, just on the practice squad. Every single year this year, at this point in the season, they turn that back end of the practice squad. Get as many players in as you can, because there's no more trade deadline. So you're trying to find people that are familiar with your system. And I would be willing to argue Kader Holman probably going to be back at some point, whether that's next year and the 90-man roster or whatever. He's a special teams guy that they like. JD asked this question: can a player come back twice from IR? Yes, he can, but that counts as 2. So Elijah Mitchell could go back on IR like he did and come back off of it, but that's 2 of your 8 spots that you can return from IR. So we'll see how they want to handle it. My guess is Elijah Mitchell just going to sit just like Armstead did. That's my guess. Could be wrong.
But it makes sense, right? Because you're hoping Armstead, he's supposed to be practicing today. It might be limited. We don't know as of yet. But the fact that he's here today, and then 9 times out of 10, if he's going to practice for the remainder of the week, he'll probably be able to play. And so this will be another person that they'll continue to monitor. Like, I just didn't expect the injury to be 6 to 8 weeks. I think that's what kind of like just threw us for a loophole. I thought it was going to be like a 2 to 4 week type of an injury, and then the 6 to 8. But the good thing is, hey, man, you keep on squad, and the next thing you know, come playoffs, week 1, first game in the playoffs, he's back, fresh, healthy, ready to go. And at least you can get him. Hopefully, you can get him for at least those 3-4 games. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's
And let me, I made a mistake in something I said earlier. Luke holding me accountable. It's not Benkert who's the practice squad quarterback right now. It is Jacob Eason, the Georgia Washington transfer. So he was brought on a couple weeks ago. And again, like I said, they're going to churn that spot and just try to get as much as they can, just get eyes on them to see what they got. So we'll have to see what those looks like, right? What that looks like. But you're going to see a lot of players coming and going. Almost all NFL teams are doing this. You saw the Bears sign the Lions, or vice versa. The Lions signed the Bears practice squad guy. Like, that's just where this is. Oh, look at this. Clarzard. I was going to ask this question. Clazard, you are correct. Texas strikes again. Thank you, Texas education system. Stupid. We just add syllables in there. You know what I mean? We don't do it right. So I apologize. Now, here's what I was going to ask this question. Who do you want covering Tyreek? If you had to pick, Wayne, now we've seen them do some interesting things with Charvarius Ward or Mooney Ward lately. They kept him on the defensive right side to go against the Cardinals because that's where D-Hop likes to play. We've seen him keep him on the left side almost predominantly, but we even moved him around a little bit last week to stay with Olave a little bit more than normal. How do you handle the corner rotation this week with Tyreek and Waddle? Do you just let them stay stagnant where they always are? Or do you do some funky stuff and shadow and all that kind of stuff?
I don't know. I think you kind of want to let them stay stagnant, right? Because let them come to you. Like, don't go to them, right? I think that's kind of like my theory with these guys. It's going to be a crazy 1-2 punch, and I think he'll lock up pretty much just about anybody. Like, I think when it comes to Tyreek Hill, it's his ability to be able to just like find a way to make a big play and getting open. Like, and so if he lines up on the left side and he's on the left side, then let him play there. But if he lines up on the right side, let him play on the right side. I say let him stay pat. I actually like Deommodore more in this matchup with a Tyreek Hill. Like, I know he's not as fast, but man, he's short and stocky like Hill. He can probably put a body to him, and it can slow him down a little bit. So I actually like that matchup. Like, Tyreek Hill's going to have to literally run like really good routes. I think Waddle might be a better route runner than Hill too, by the way. So like, this is going to be interesting to see how the 49ers are going to defend this 1-2 combo. And you got to factor in this guy named Trent Sherfield too, who kind of lines up. So they'll be all interchangeable. Their wide receivers will be interchangeable, but the 49ers defense, I think they should stay pat on their respective sides. I don't think Mooney needs the shadow. They're as great as Hill is. He's not a big. I don't know. I can't say. And
he moves all over. Like he'll be in the slot.
So he'll be behind. Right.
That's where it gets difficult.
Right. This is not
so. And Kyle was asked. The press conference just wrapped up about 30 minutes ago. This was a clip from Kyle Shanahan when asked about Tyreek and what makes him so different.
To watch. I mean, right when he got Tyreek, you knew how much that was going to help. I mean, just Tyreek's, there's a number of fast people in this league, and to me, he's different than everyone else probably ever. Just the physicality and speed he runs with. So just some of the things that they can do with him is cool to watch. But the question was watching Tua in the offense. And I wasn't totally sure of that. And I remember turning it on the preseason and watching his first game, and I was like, wow, this guy looks totally different and looks very comfortable. And then turned it on week 1, and I thought he was playing in week 1 as good as anyone in this league. And I don't think he's had a game not like that.
There we go. And that's where that comes in.
Respect.
Now, and yeah, he's a player. There's no doubt about it. So let's go through, Wayne. Let's go through our practice report. I think there's a couple things I want to talk about here. Elijah Mitchell, obviously out with a knee. CMC not practicing today with just some knee agitatedness.
They said irritation. So
Right.
that's tendonitis.
I don't think so. It's just it came off. You know, he didn't feel right. They put the brace on it. Just sometimes it just gets what it is. Now, again, I want to play one more clip just because I don't think we could do this justice. Listen to Kyle Shanahan explain when they asked, "Will this keep Christian McCaffrey out Sunday?" This is a quick clip, but I thought it was funny.
Something that you think that might keep him from playing on Sunday?
It's keeping him from going today. So I hope not.
He's such a butthole, bro.
Let me check my notes. Today.
Whenever I meet Kyle Shanahan, I think the first thing I'm going to say to him is, dude, you're such a butthole, man. But
dude, you got to do it with the press, man. I mean, especially that press room. They come, they're there to try to trip you up and cause problems. So anytime you can go back at them. Now, you and I were teachers, so we were in a press conference every damn day for 15 plus years. You 16, me 15. And you know, when you had those stinking kids that like to cause problems, tell me you didn't tee off on them. Tell me you didn't go after them, because I know you went. I went after them all the time.
But you know what? That's why they loved me, and that's why they respected me, and that's why I had kids signing up to be in my class, because I was always going to be me. But that was funny.
Well, today.
I wasn't looking at no damn notes.
No, there was no notes. He's just being whatever it is. I love it. So let's finish out this injury report. Then I want to get to Daryl's question here. You know, Omenihu was out with the knee as well. So we got 3 players out with the knee, which is frustrating. Limited, Eric Armstead. I think this is his week. Debo with the quad contusion, which he played through. So not too concerned about that. Limited again today. Burford with an ankle. Not sure if he practiced, because Shanahan was a little cheeky with that, where he said he's limited. He might not practice at all, but he might be limited, which was an ankle. So it didn't seem too serious. Shot J says, I love it when Kyle trolls the media. I do too. You got to. You got to have some fun with that stuff. You got to. So that's where we are. Now let's get to Daryl's question. He said, how will the Niners take advantage of the tackles? Now, it's been out there. Teron Armstead, who, just like Tyreek that they traded for, was their prize free agent signing, their left tackle. And I saw it be put out there that, you know, I know that Tyreek and Tua and all them are getting all these accolades, that the MVP of the Miami offense has been Teron Armstead. He hasn't been ruled out, but it does not look like he's going to play. So my question to you is this. How big is this going to affect the game, the 49ers DNs, which they have a lot of them, against these Miami tackles?
Look, if he's not playing, man, this should be a good day for the 49er defensive ends. Mainly Nick Bosa, because that's the side, right? Like, that's his side. That's the side he lines up on. But you know what? It's funny because, like, whenever these non-star tackles don't play, like, I feel like the defensive ends still struggle. Like, they still can't get home for some apparent reason. You might see more chipping on that side or with the tight ends. So I don't know. All I know is I'm probably the only 49er and Eric, the only 49er content creator, and Eric Crocker, because I was on the show earlier this morning. We're just not worried. Like, I don't know why. I just really believe that this 49ers team has certain things figured out. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to blow this team away, but they just got to go out and execute. John, you watched the damn film. Like, we're still not executing, bro. Like, can you imagine if we just freaking executed some of those runs that we saw for 1 yard would have been 10, 12, 15 touchdowns? Like, just one block, one key communicate. Hey, man, you block here, I'm going to block here. Like, and I know you could say that on every play, right? I think that's how it's dialed up. But, man, we be beating ourselves up and shooting ourselves in the foot sometimes. So I like that. I think that the defensive ends are going to be the same type of defensive ends. I don't think that you're going to see a mass production of sacks. But I tell you what, Houston was able to get pressure with that guy in the game. And you know what? 49ers should be able to get home, period, point blank. The question is, how will they deal with the pressures? I don't think we'll see a lot of blitzing, but who knows?
So I'll say this, Austin Jackson was supposed to be their right tackle. He got injured. Last week was his first week back at right tackle. He gave up 6 pressures against the Houston Texans. Okay. Then you had Teron Armstead, who played 37 snaps. 37 snaps. He gets injured, which sucks. I hate all injuries.
I hate injuries too.
He gets replaced by Brandon Shell, who started lots of games for the Dolphins at right tackle. He comes in, plays 39 snaps, gives up 5 pressures.
I'm trying to tell you.
To the Texans.
That's what I'm saying, John. Like, listen, I felt like the Texans got punched in the mouth mainly because they turned the ball over early. And if you look at that game, like the Dolphins scored off of their turnovers, right? I can't remember if they had a defensive touchdown as well, but I know they were getting the ball, and then Tua had the ball at the 3 to 5 or whatever. So they were efficient in the red zone, which is what I hope the 49ers can become. And that was what it was. And they went up early, but the Texans kept fighting back. Toombs getting messed up in that game. Y'all, did we watch the same game? Go rewatch the game, guys. Tell me what you think. Toombs was getting messed up. They ended up taking him out because he was getting beat up. And unfortunately, Texans just couldn't come back. There was not enough time. They couldn't get into their groove early enough. So
and the Texans are a bad team. They're a
terrible team. Like, they're just bad.
They're probably going to have the first overall pick. And
Quarterback.
so, like, I don't know. Like, I look at it, and what I kind of say is the 49ers have to be themselves. And I know everybody's hyping this game up, and I want to spend some time jumping into all the stuff that's been said. But I'm going to say this. This is the least important game left on the 49ers schedule.
It so much is, but it's not a must-win game. It's just, you can't beat me yet. Keep trying, young Padawan game. That's what it is. But it's not important at all. It's unfortunate, but I want to win. I'm sorry. I don't want us to ever lose.
Shoot, we're going.
Like, that's right.
We're spending all this money to throw this damn party, all these parties, which I'm excited about. And I gotta say, shout out to the man Clayton behind the scenes. He's going to be there with us this weekend as well.
Yes, sir.
We've got stuff out the wazoo. We've got legends, John Taylor, Eric Wright coming out. We even got some Miami fans, Mark Clayton, Mark Duper going to be there as well. We got a party Saturday night, going to be incredible. Then we've got the tailgate that we're working on that's going to be an absolute blast in the blue lot number 1. All that stuff's up. 49ersrushroadtrip.com. We've got all kinds of stuff going on. And so we are invested. This was one of the games that we had circled, for a long time. And if you guys are fans of the show, Brian from Legit Football, he's going to be there, which, real quick alert, Brian's got a new job. So the Thursday slot doesn't work for us that we always record on the Thursday at 1. So we're pushing it to Friday at 1. So Fridays at 1 are our new NFC West watch kind of outlook, whatever. So that's where that's going to be. Sorry for the change it in whatever. And Coach Cruz, the man himself. Coach Cruz, you coming out too this weekend. That's happening. I love this dude. He's a blast, man. He said, I wish it was flexing to Sunday night. Yeah, I do as well. So do I. But you take what you get. You don't throw a fit. The thing that sucks is you've got the 2 best games of the week happening in the same slot, because you got the Chiefs game and the 49ers Dolphins game at the same time. And I think it's Chiefs Bengals, right? Is that right? Am I right on that? Sorry, no. It's been a long week with all this stuff going on. What's up?
I did my picks, and I don't remember it being Chiefs Bengals
Chiefs Bengals 125. So Chiefs Bengals same time as our game. Yeah, look at ESPN right now. So those are by far the 2 best games of the week. Same time. Like, come on, man, do your damn job, NFL. Fix it. But that's okay. I digress.
Oh, I picked the Bengals to win.
You took the Bengals.
Yeah, I took the Bengals. I feel like
they're playing hot right now.
They're getting Joe Mixon back, and I think Jamar Chase may be playing this week as well. He practiced last week. He was a healthy scratch, so that's going to be a good game. You're right. The NFL doing us dirty,
That's all right. The game that it's going to be very similar to the NFC Championship game last year, where everybody was watching the Chiefs and Bengals beforehand, the Rams and the 49ers fans. It was so cool because you go into SoFi all red, and we're watching the end of the Chiefs Bengals game on the Jumbotron or whatever, and everybody, both fan bases, the 20 Rams fans that were there and the 70,000 49ers fans that were there were all pulling for the Bengals because everybody hates the Chiefs. It was a cool experience. That was cool. Now,
is there a rule about, like, I thought you can get flexed. It didn't matter if you had the max primetime games.
Yeah, you can get flexed into that, but nobody's going to flex Cowboys out.
Right.
Because the Cowboys are going to get the TVs.
They run the TV. Right.
So that's a decision that's not made by the NFL. That's a decision that's made by the networks. And there's no way each network gets so many flex options and you have to negotiate. So NBC, who has Sunday Night Football, they have to basically trade and all kinds of different things with the early games with Fox or CBS or whoever gets that game. You don't want to spend that capital whenever you already have a Cowboys game in your pocket. I understand it. I don't like it. But the NFL is all about money, not about the fans. That's not their prerogative. Never will be. It's about the money. So, having said that, I want to talk about the quote-unquote beef between Mostert, Sherfield, Jeff Wilson Jr., and the 49ers. And
you want to talk about South Beach 49ers beefing with the real 49ers. Okay.
I forgot I made that the title of this show. 49ers versus South Beach 49ers. That's just the way I kind of feel it. That's just the way I feel it. Oh, getting a call from Vegas trying to set up this tailgate spot for the Vegas game. I'm going to have to call that back recording. Uh-oh, they're going to be mad at me. But let me say this, okay? Mostert comes out, clears the air. And I tweeted out, as soon as those comments came out, I was like, man, this seems shady as hell. That's not who Raheem Mostert is. I'm the biggest fan of Mostert. Have been. He's such a great dad, person, his wife. I love it. I love who they are. And so whenever I saw that report come out from that stupid clickbait journalism, people like assume I'm nice. And we've talked about this a little bit. I'm not nice whenever you're misleading and causing problems and your entire goal in life is to cause tension and mess up relationships of other people. I get defensive as hell. Because I was raised around that crap. I don't do that. Homie, don't play that. That pisses me off. So whenever I saw this, I was like, man, I tweeted out. I was like, guys, I don't think this is what's happening. I legitimately said, if you take each one of these quotes, you can make it where it's not an attack on the 49ers. And my mentions blew up. How dare you? Blah, blah, blah. They're terrible. Shanahan did everything for them. And then sure enough, you wait 2 days, which in today's news cycle, nobody does. And all the air got cleared. All the air got cleared. Listen to this quote. This is a direct quote from Mostert's mouth. Okay, sound literally from him talking about this. Because the thing was, the thing that everybody got mad was he said, we have more talent here. That was the quote they pulled out, which is what he said. He wasn't talking about the 49ers. He was talking about the Dolphins beforehand. Literally, this is the full quote. I'm going to read the full quote. Quote, I was speaking in terms of we have more talent here at this moment than what has been here in the past. I was with the Niners for several years. I know what their talent is. They're unbelievable talent on both sides of the ball on special teams. I wasn't trying to take shots at anyone, end quote. That is on par with who Raheem Mostert is. Am I wrong?
No.
Oh, you're still bitter, aren't you?
I'm not bitter, but you can't say something and then be upset if it's been misinterpreted or interpreted by the person that's publishing it, because then you shouldn't have just said it. You shouldn't have said it in the first place. That's their job. Their job is to take something that you said and make it juicy. So I'm not mad at
man. That's BS.
It's not BS. It's their job. Like, if you were
into that, I don't care. That's like the people that are saying, "Oh, well, it's my job to do whatever I'm told. I got to do it." Man, BS.
Dude, if you were in the media and you were trying to feed your family, your job is to create the best freaking story that you can find. The bad stories don't get paid. That's what it is. It was his job. Now, here's my thing. Like, he's cleaning it up now, but he can't be upset on how people interpreted it. Like, that's like, even if you like, if I say John sucks, right? At such and such, right? And then the reporter reports, oh, Breezy said that John sucks. You're gonna be mad I know that's
I'm with
not what
you.
I said, but I said you suck at cooking. They didn't put the
I
cooking.
do.
Don't
I
agree
do.
with it, damn it. I'm just saying.
Oh, sorry. Screw you, Wayne. I'm a
No,
great cook.
but that's my point. Like,
Ramen.
so that's what's happening here, right? The reporter and doesn't make the reporter a good person. He's still sleazy.
No, it's bad. This is terrible.
But here's the thing, like this is what media people get paid to do, y'all. Like
Oh.
that's their job. Like not everybody's gonna put out the good story. Some people are going to fabricate things. Now, when I used to teach my kids media, I told them make sure that the stuff is good. Like make sure it doesn't defame a person or do this. That's what I wanted. They're kids, right? But when they get and understand, it's a motherfucking monster out here. Ask Kanye. No, I'm just playing.
Ugh. Yeah. Okay. Here's another quote that I want to talk about. This was the big one. Quote, "We have a quarterback who can actually sling it," end quote. Now, what about Jimmy? That wasn't about Jimmy.
It wasn't.
That wasn't about Jimmy. Here's the
Here's the
quote.
Tua can sling it.
Here's the quote from Mostert. Start of the quote. Quote, "I was looking at what Tua has done and what Tua has dealt with in the past. A lot of people doubting him and his ability, not the fact that Jimmy G can't sling the rock or anything like that. I would never in a million years talk about as a player, specifically a guy like Jimmy, just because we've grown together. And when I was there, his family is like my family. I've been to his brother's wedding. His sister-in-law and my wife are best friends," end quote. Like, I don't know, man. And like
Listen, John,
he even said it was clickbait, all that stuff. It was purposely misleading.
But
that's the thing that pisses me off.
Then don't read the news. Sorry. Like that's what the news. Listen, dude, I know you watch I don't watch the news actually. I find, but this is what editorials and breaking stories and not near safe the breaking stories. That sucks, man. Because that's their job. It's their job.
Throw this in the chat. Am I correct to be pissed off by this?
You can be.
Am I correct?
That's your prerogative. But there's people that aren't, John, and you can't be mad at the people that aren't. Like
why? No, I'm not mad at people that aren't mad. No. I'm mad at the reporter. But I'm mad at the reporter. Why can the reporter twist stuff without zero accountability? Like, if he can mix up words and make it misleading, why can't I be pissed off at him? Like, that should be allowed.
I didn't say that you couldn't be pissed off. I'm just saying that's the job of the reporter. He effectively pissed you off. You chose to fall for it. You chose to read it, and then you decided to wait.
See, I didn't fall for it. I didn't fall for it. But I literally said, guys, trust me. Like, you shouldn't be upset at this. Like, and so that's the thing. Like, who are we, Wayne? We are people that were fans of fans, right? I care about, and so whenever I read that, I was like, man, so many fans that love the 49ers are going to be hurt by this because of this snake reporter changing everything and moving it around. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So that's why I get upset. I'm not upset for me. I'm upset because I know who Raheem Mostert is for the community. I know who Raheem Mostert is as a person, as a teammate, and he affected that. And you have people on social media saying, man, screw Mostert. He's nothing without Shannon. That's why I'm mad, because I look back on Raheem Mostert. He made my experience as a 49ers fan better because of what he did, who he was as a person, his story, overcoming all those things. And that's why I get pissed. And so, yeah. And again, like, it's small things. Nobody's like really, really hurt, but like, I take this shit seriously. Like, I care what fans say. I got to answer all these texts whenever I get all these texts about, man, you see what Mostert said? Screw that guy.
I don't get the texts, man, because my phone would have been no, seriously, listen, yo, it's crazy because I worked in like media, like, and so it's like I try to teach people to make the tasteful stories, and you got to spice them, but it's the early bird gets the worm, right? That's for the breaking news stories, right? And then there's people that literally get through the interviews. Man, John, I get it. I know why you mad. I'm still mad at the Michael Jackson documentary that came on HBO. I want to fire and find all the people that made that documentary. Wade, when I get out there, I'm coming for you, bro. I'm gonna be. Listen, I'm telling you, man. Like, I'm still mad at that. So I get where you're coming from. But
my parents took me to see Michael Jackson when I was 5 years old. I saw the Thriller.
1991 bad tour, bro.
I didn't get any backstage passes, thankfully.
Me neither. I cried. I know I cried. I remember crying.
Anyway, I'll say this. I'll back off. Okay, here we go. Now, let's go to something a little bit more positive, okay? And this comes for the media as well. Oh, Daryl, he says, I heard Clayton runs around slapping opposing fans. Now, let me say this. Clayton is somebody that I have spent a lot of my time with digitally, on the phone, text, all that stuff. He's in, like, I've never hung out with Clayton in person. This is going to be the first time this week. And so I'm very, very excited to be around this handsome devil. We're going to have a good time this weekend. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Now, before we jump into, I want to talk about some positive things in the media from a journalist that I actually do respect. But before we do that, real quick word from our sponsor. You guys know what it is. It is winning season at MyBookie. As always, if you want to enjoy the football games, 49ers, or just NFL, or really any sport in general, you can bet on anything over there. MyBookie.ag. We've been with them for years. Very trusted site. Get your money in, get your money out easily. And on top of that, all season, double deposit bonus. Whenever you first deposit your money, let's say you deposit $250, you get $500 credited to your account if you just use our promo code 49ERS, or scan this QR code right to the side of me if you're watching this on YouTube. And again, it just sets you up completely. MyBookie is incredible. Bet with us. We're on Patreon. We share our bets every single week, all season long. So join us, mybookie.ag, promo code 49ers. Bet anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. All right. Now, I was listening to a podcast this morning, The Season by Peter Schrager, who I think does a good job. A little bit too much fluff for me, but at the end of it, he interviewed Matt Rule, the head coach that just got fired from Carolina right after the Niners destroyed him. Now he's the new Nebraska head coach, whatever else. But he had two quotes in that interview that I thought were just awesome. You know, Peter Schrager asked him, who's the best player in the NFL? And this is the quote, Trent Williams is the best player in the NFL, end quote. And like, I don't know. I don't even think Trent Williams having his best year of his career.
Yeah. He's the best player in the NFL, bro.
He's just so consistent at a position that is just lacking. If you could draw like, okay, which positions are flourishing in the NFL right now, wide receiver, young quarterbacks, all that kind of stuff, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to pick like which position is the worst in the NFL, it's offensive line, probably 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, right tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this kind of goes back to the whole McGlinchey thing. Like, yeah, has McGlinchey been great? No. Find a right tackle that's exceeding him, that's available, that you could get. That's kind of the issue. So do you have any issue with, man, let me ask it this way. If we threw Trent Williams out, who are some of the best players in the NFL that could be in the conversation? Not necessarily 49ers, but who are some of the best players in the NFL? For me, probably Patrick Mahomes comes up top of the list. I mean, he's top of the list for me.
I would think Patrick Mahomes, Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, he's been unreal, man. He's been unreal this year.
Micah Parsons, you got to put him in there. Guy's productive, whether you hate him or not. Nick Bosa could probably be in that category, though he's not
Jones.
Chris Jones, like I don't know if he'd be like in the best player category. He's definitely highly effective. I'm just thinking, but Patrick Mahomes, right?
I think that'd be number
best
one
player in the NFL. But when you look at it, man, I think it's more like Trent Williams. The way he's looking at it is, my gosh, the dude's just like a monster. Like mentally, physically, he can literally have his way with you on every play. And when he's healthy, like, good luck. And then you got to think of his adversity. Like, dude almost died. And then like he comes back and he has hit the greatest season of his career, year 2 in San Francisco. I think that was the best year of his whole entire makeup of work, right? And people really acknowledge that he's in the upper echelon. It's unfortunately he can't throw passes, but hey, man, I'm gonna be surprised if this is the game that Trent Williams rushes or throws.
There we go. Wayne's been on this one.
Listen,
don't change.
Mike McDaniels. Sorry, didn't mean to add the S McDaniel. Mike McDaniel was setting him up last season. I said to Eric today that there's going to be some little wrinkle that we have not seen yet. Will it be Trent? That's the question. I'm saving that for the show tomorrow. Don't answer it now. You have to answer it tomorrow on the show.
I love it, man. I absolutely love it. Now, another quote that I wanted to talk about, he was talking about Nick Bosa and the game, and he said that this is Matt Rule when he was with Carolina, they had a coach up in the press box whose only job was to watch when Nick Bosa was out because they had what was called Bosa out plays on their playbook.
Wow.
So they had a whole series of plays that they would only call if Nick Bosa wasn't in the game.
That boy different.
Like, talk about respect, right?
That boy different.
He's different.
Dude, he's in wrestling chokeholds on every play. And then when he's not in a chokehold, like he's still being held some way by the waist. Listen, Nick Bosa has back-to-back roughing the passer calls. Did you notice that? Back-to-back in each game. He had one in Arizona, and then he had one right now. Can he make the streak 3? Will he get one in this game?
He's back there enough.
I felt like they're ticky-tacky, but if they stop freaking holding him and just let him sack the quarterback, he wouldn't go out there and get a late hit on the quarterback.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm with you there. And so, like, I mean, it's just you have so many difference makers, and we haven't even mentioned Fred Warner's name.
Haven't mentioned Fred's name.
Maybe coming off one of his best games.
Top of the echelon, man. He's the best linebacker in football. There's not one close.
No,
Bobby Wagner is no longer close. Dude from Colts didn't play like one game this year. Maybe my man from Devin White from Tampa Bay, haven't heard his name at all. There's like not a linebacker close to Fred Warner at this moment. I love, you know what I like? Demario Davis.
I do too. He played well, but they took advantage of him.
But they took you're reading. That's my point.
We watched the film. That's why we could say these things. We don't watch it together, but when you watch every single play on all those angles,
wants you, myself, and Dell to do a film breakdown. So we got to make it happen. Yeah,
I'm just going to sit there and eat
popcorn. No. That's what I'm doing. I told him that was my role. I got the popcorn. I got the microwave right there. I'm just going to sit here and just be like, what? Breezy just, I'm just going to do, yep.
I love it. Mosquito Killer's got a question. He says, so John and Wayne, is it CMC Mason 1-2 punch, or do you think they'll activate Coleman? I'll say this, because it's not as simple as just CMC because he's injured.
Right.
Like, if CMC is not, if CMC was full go, I think it would be CMC, Mason, TDP. But because CMC's not 100% limited today, or didn't practice today with this knee issue, I think you bring up all three. I think Tevin Coleman will be activated. I think TDP will be activated. I think Mason will be out there.
I disagree slightly.
Okay, let's hear it. I love it.
I think the order would have been CMC, Coleman, Mason.
Oh, don't do that.
I don't know why people don't like Tevin Coleman, man. Like, I don't get it. He comes in, he produced, and remember, he hasn't played in a minute. So usually when he doesn't play in a minute, he has the best game of his life.
He was a beast against Carolina.
I'm just saying. Like, he might come in and just be the reason why the 49ers beat the Dolphins rushing for 4 TDs. Look, it's just what it is. I don't think TDP, this is the season for him. And now, if there was some type of an injury, obviously you would have to rush the process for him. But Jordan Mason's ahead of TDP mainly for 2 reasons. One, he's on special teams, and he's an ace out there. What a weapon that we have in Jordan Mason, and I think he just might be the guy you just want running the ball, period, point blank, right? Like, let him get them short, let him go up the middle, and let everybody else bounce to the outside. But Coleman, I think if CMC is not ready to go, I think Coleman gets called up and he starts.
Yeah, you're probably right, because he can do a little bit of everything. Juan says, look at the film. Jordan Mason looked great. Do you remember when we were doing all those offseason shows? I look at Wayne. He just closed his eyes. He didn't want me to bring it up.
Nope.
I was screaming Jordan Mason from the rooftops from the very beginning,
bro. I talk every time I do a show. Do I not say John Chapman's guy? Jordan Mason has been screaming it from the top of the lungs of the mountaintops of Montgomery, Alabama. I'm just saying, you've been screaming it. And listen, it's finally coming to fruition. The question is, will he ever get a chance to start for the 49ers?
Give him the chance. Terradome says, Mason is the dude. He's got beast mode balance. He does. Now, Kyle was asked this today. the way it was phrased was, it seems like the players loved Jordan Mason and gave him a lot of accolades after the game. Why do you think that is the case? So listen to the head coach talk about just how important Jordan Mason was to close out that Saints game.
I think they were impressed with how he looked running the ball. I think it reminded them of how he went in the preseason for a couple games, and you could feel him from the sidelines. Those guys have been waiting for their opportunities, and then we had 2 guys go down, and he was ready for it. And putting him there at the end of the game, when the game was still tight. I mean, there's 6 minutes and it was a 13-point game. I mean, a guy who hasn't been in that much, I'd like to not put that pressure on him. I'd like to keep our vets out there holding onto the ball and stuff, but our guys were a little banged up, and so we put Mason in, and I'm real glad we did. I mean, he held onto that ball great. There was no way he was fumbling it, but not only did he do that, but he moved the chains when it wasn't always blocked to move the chains, and I think that's what the players noticed on the sidelines, and I think the defense was really happy they didn't have to go back out there again.
6 minutes. 6 minutes.
Never got the ball back.
Never got the 6-minute drive, y'all. I'll leave it at that. It was Nick Bosa's sack on 4th and 4, 6-minute drive in the game.
Gosh. So my question is, Coach Cruz says Mason's a flat-out stud. Has he earned the opportunity to be the number 2 guy? You say no. And again, Kyle kind of backed you up a little bit. Said, I like the vets to be those guys.
That's my only issue.
That's
vets. The only reason why I'm saying no. If you ask me the question, yes. But I always try to think of the way in the mind of our head coach. And if you know Kyle, like I know Kyle, something about the veterans that he just has more trust in. And what was the first thing that he said? He said he did a good job at what? Not turning over the ball, right? And so that was the first thing Kyle said about Jordan Mason, which is good for Mason. But Kyle Shanahan, I guess he just trusts his veteran guys. And again, Mason's still learning the system. Pass protection could be an issue. There's so many other intricacies.
Yeah, 0 snaps in pass protection. He only got 9 total snaps because a couple of those were wiped out with penalties.
That's the scary part.
But Pro Football Focus, the highest rated player for the offense or defense, 91.4 grade, even though it was only 9 snaps. Yeah, he was, oh man, he was so good. He was so good. And yeah, Flynn, he can catch the ball. He played at Georgia Tech. They didn't throw the ball much to him, but he caught what he could. And if you look back at training camp, all those reports, he was good out of the backfield there as well. So I'm hoping. I just want him to be a part. I don't need Mason to be the guy. I need him to be a part. If you go through a game and Jordan Mason's healthy and he doesn't get 4 carries, I think you're doing a disservice to what this team could be in the development process. That's my opinion. It's been my opinion, though.
But it's how much of this for Kyle Shanahan? Like, because he's also like super secretive, right? He doesn't want to let the world know about Jordan Mason still. Because if he's undrafted, because
but he kept him on the roster. He could have cut him. He kept him.
But God,
Trey Sermon back in.
Yeah, you're right.
Who hasn't been called up at all, by the way.
So maybe he just needs to just say bump it and just let it ride. I don't know. For some reason, I feel like even like with Jimmy Garoppolo and some of these offensive players, like we're still not seeing like this thing at its full potential because Kyle still be holding stuff back because he's like waiting for the right opportunity and the right time. And so maybe it's Mason time. Is it Mason season? I say, yeah. I say go for it. Let the young guy get in there, man.
What I don't want him to change anything. Do the exact same thing you're doing with Elijah Mitchell. Just put 2-4 back there. Yeah, you weren't throwing it to Elijah Mitchell anyway. Elijah Mitchell wasn't out there blocking. Let me see here.
That's a good point.
Guess how many snaps Elijah Mitchell had pass blocking last game? 0.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, like, I get you. A lot of times the reason why running backs that are young don't get playing time is because of pass pro. But Elijah wasn't. He was getting playing time. He went pass blocking.
Yeah, but they were also trying to keep him fresh because they knew
let him stay fresh.
Big burst of run. I don't know if Mason's going to give you that same from the outside zone, but who knows? You got to let the kid play. I don't understand how players can develop if they don't play. That's my rule.
Yeah. Melissa, thanks for the comment on there. I love it. I do. We all pick our players as fans, as content creators, whatever. And 2 guys that I was high on since the day they arrived, and I appreciate you, Melissa, keeping tabs on me. Jordan Mason, Dre Greenlaw. Those were 2 guys. And I'm going to throw number 3 in there, Quantrez Knight. I believe in that dude long term. We ain't seen it yet, but I'm telling you, Quantrez Knight, you're a big Poe guy.
I'm a huge Poe guy,
Yeah, that's
and I
your
wish they
dude.
stopped playing Poe and let this guy play. But you know, it's just not his time yet. It's just not his
Not his
time.
time yet. Not his time yet. Jedi says, I think it was a close call when the fans, they kept Mason and Poe, our guys. Yeah. And so, they waived Poe and brought him back on the practice squad, but nobody else has picked him up. Like, he's free. Any team can pick up Poe right now, but it's not happening. You can't get Mason. He's ours. He's
He's on
ours.
the active roster. Yeah, he
He's
made the
ours.
53.
Now, just a couple quick updates. I know we talked about the 49ers Rush road trip earlier. I do want to say we finalized our Seattle plans just late last night, which I'm super excited about. We are going to be tailgating the day of at Tony T's Sports Lounge. I haven't even made the flyer or whatever. It's literally next to the stadium.
Perfect.
So a big thing with me was I didn't want to be outdoor tailgating in Seattle in December. Just because you don't know how it's going to go. So we're going to be in this awesome sports bar right next to the stadium, drinks, food, all that kind of stuff. And we'll be able to walk straight to the stadium with ease because, again, that's a Thursday night game. So Thursday, we're going to be there 1 to 4. We're going to do a huge walk to the stadium all together, which we've done everywhere we go. Those tickets are up, 49ersrushroadtrip.com. So check that out. Yeah, those tickets are up. And we're going to do a Wednesday night, just, hey, we're going to be at this bar. You want to come hang out? No, non-ticketed, non-whatever. We're just going to get together and hang out Wednesday night for the people that come in early. So just updating those things. Now, all right, here we go. Since I wanted to stick with the theme of this show, let's talk some Jimmy Ward. I love Jimmy Ward. Again, another press conference, he was on a KNBR, and he said, quote, the 49ers haven't offered a contract, so I will test free agency, end quote. I want to hear your takes on this first. I think we're probably going to agree on a lot of this because I love this man. Jimmy Ward is incredible. 9 years with the organization. What are your thoughts on how this contract situation and just this whole year's played out for Jimmy? Oh, Juan's coming out to Seattle too. Love it. Bring rain gear. Yeah. And this week can bring some rain gear as well, just in case. So Jimmy Ward, let's hear it, Wayne.
For me, I'm saying sign Jimmy Ward and let him retire 49er. That's me.
Okay.
But
he doesn't want a cheap deal.
He does, but so
he wants top tier safety money, not nickel money. Those are different monies.
There are a lot of different monies, but the question is, who's going to give him that? He was injured for the first 5 weeks of football. So at the end of the day, like, the 49ers are going to make him an offer. The 49ers work on their own time. We know this. They do this. We've been complaining about it ever since. And so he's going to get an offer. The question is, who's going to have more money to pay him more money? And that's where he's going to end up. And so I respect it, man. It's the business. It's going to be his last contract, and I totally understand it. Don't know who's going to fill in for him once he's gone. I mean, you could try to bring Tashawn Gibson back for another year, but he's old. So I don't know. But I wish Ward would. I wish Ward could retire a 40. I wish he could win a bowl with the Niners and then retire a Niner. That would be so dope to ride off into the sunset,
Now, okay, let's put this into perspective. Couple things. One, he wants to be a safety. He's not a nickel. He needs to stop playing nickel. But the 49ers like his leadership, what he brings. I mean, he's a captain, and he's awesome. Not great in the past, whatever else. My thing is, I want Jimmy to go get paid, and I want him to be used as a safety. I feel like the 49ers have lost that privilege. Obviously, I'm biased towards the 49ers, but I'm almost always pro player. I mean, you can go back to our entire conversation about Mostert. I'm pro Jimmy Ward. And I want Jimmy Ward to get what he deserves. Jimmy Ward is a top safety in this league. He deserves to play safety. The 49ers didn't offer him a contract in, the offseason. And if you remember, this isn't the first time Jimmy Ward said this. He said this in the offseason. I'm hitting free agency. I want that money. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
Nothing wrong with that. Go get paid. Now, if we look at just safety play, okay, let's just say the top 10 safety. Let's say he's 10. The average payment per year for a safety, Quandre Diggs for Seattle, who's one of my favorite players, but I hate Seattle, hook 'em horns. He gets paid $13 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
If we look at nickel, which is hard, you can't really filter this by nickel. There's not a nickel safety anywhere in this top list. Oh my God, you got to go down and keep going down and keep going down. Golly, there's no nickels being paid top tier money. Jordan Lewis for the Cowboys, $4.5 million. That's the difference between a nickel and a safety.
And see, this is why Jimmy's gone, right?
Yeah.
And it's because the 49ers straight up just like they kind of hurt. I can't say it on here.
They killed his market.
They killed his market, yo.
Well, would it be better if he was just sitting on the bench? Tayshaun Gibson deserves it. I was on the fence and I wanted Jimmy to be moved back to safety. After the last 2 weeks, I do not. Tayshaun Gibson, first 4 weeks, he was unbelievable. Last 2 weeks, he was unbelievable. He had a little bit of a dry spell in the middle. Tayshaun Gibson was great last week.
I agree. And if he doesn't get that pass breakup in the end zone, that was 7 points to Taysom Hill. But no, seriously, like look what the 49ers did. And that'll make that, wouldn't that make you feel unappreciated? Like, oh man, I'm a safety. Why would you make me play nickel?
Meritocracy, man.
There it is.
Tayshaun earned it. And it sucks somebody's got to be the odd man out, but they're letting him play. He's got to go get paid somewhere. And I could see him stay within the division too. Jimmy Ward's
I think he goes wherever D'Amico goes. I think that's a person you want to build your defense with. Bring that captain, and that's probably the only reason why he's playing nickel. I guarantee you, D'Amico's like, listen, man, I need your leadership here. I know this is not where you belong. I understand that, but once I get my job, you'll be back there. I got you.
Yeah, he's going to have spots with, LaFleur, with Saleh, with McDaniel, he's got Joe Woods is the DC in Cleveland, right? Like, he's got the connections, 9 years. But the thing that sucks for me, let's bring it back. Being a decade-long 49er is something that is near and dear to my heart, right? If you are one of those players that has played for 10 years for this 49ers, you go to the 49ers facility, they have a wall. Decade-long 49ers. Like, that is an honor. It's rare. He's so close, man. I freaking love Jimmy Ward.
That's why
I want him to get paid. I want to see him play safety.
Yeah, that's why I said I want him here, but I know he's not going to be here. Just because the way, like his injury, the way if his injury never happened, Tayshaun Gibson would be a backup safety.
Correct. I don't think we signed him. He wasn't even on the team.
He wouldn't even be on the team. See what I'm saying?
Wasn't even on the team. They literally signed him like 2 days before the season and started and just boom.
That's what happened.
Picked him up off the street. And he's earned it. He's earned it. Now, I'm seeing a lot of Emmanuel Mosley comments in the chat. His injury sucked big time. Broke my heart whenever he went down. And I do think that he will be back with the 49ers, very similar to what happened with Verrett, right? Because now he's going to have to do a 1-year team-friendly deal. So why change the situation? Go back to a situation you'll be successful in, a place that believes in you. It sucks, but yeah, he's got to get a cheap deal. If he would have kept playing the way he was playing, he would have got probably over $10 million a year contract.
He wouldn't have got it from us though. He would have been. They're already paying one guy.
Yeah. And Demo's played great, and Samuel Womack's just waiting in the wings. He comes in for like 2 plays, makes third down stops. Samuel Womack is a freaking.
That's my guy this year. So that's the guy that I'm like, God, let him play. Like, I don't care if he has a brain fart and palms coverage. Who cares? So let him go out there and figure it out. He's always around the ball. I would like to see him on Tyreek Hill.
He's good, man. He's good. Anybody on Tyreek Hill I don't like, but yeah, I want to see some of it. I
just like his on ball. Like, he just sticks to the ball. Like, he might not be able to keep up with him, but for some reason he can close out on that ball. Tua don't have passes thrown like Patrick Mahomes. So Tyreek is going to try to work us underneath and gain his yards and yak. I can tell you that right now.
Yep. I like it. Juan says, what about Jenkins? Any chance he plays this weekend? Janoris Jenkins, I doubt it. I don't think there's a need. I think you give him time. I talked about Jack Rabbit, the newly acquired corner. I don't think so. Unless he's just going to play special teams only. But, the whole thing was the 49ers have been trying to get Janoris Jenkins for a while, according to a report, but Jenkins didn't want to sign as a practice squad player. And the Niners said, look, man, we want you here, but this is the best we can do. So if that's the case, that they were going to immediately call him up, I think they would have already signed him. But I could be wrong. We'll have to see how it goes. But there's no issues at corner. There's no injuries at corner. I'm not too concerned about that.
This is just great depth, man. And if anything goes down, you don't skip a beat.
Wayne knows his stuff, man. All right, that's going to do it for us. I know we went a little long. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Wayne, you are the best there is.
You're the best there is.
Appreciate
Wow.
you, man. And I love it when we argue.
I just didn't know you were going to go that route. But hey, I don't know. I got a soft heart for the media people, and you got a soft heart for the football people. So it is what it is.
There we go. There we go. Appreciate everybody here. Thank you, Clayton, the man behind the scenes. He is running things. He is our Mike McDaniel. And then, of course, we got Kilted 49er. And as always, 49ers George 365 producers making this show happen. Until next time, stay strong, faithful.